What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode here on Above Average. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Don't leave a like and subscribe. We've got a different video for you today. It's going to be a little interesting. Haven't done a video like this ever. It's going to be a little bit of a longer one, so I'm just going to hop right into it. It's going to be a tier ranking video. You've seen it in the thumbnail. You see it in the title. I'm going to be ranking each and every single Oiler that has played so far for the Oilers this season, excluding like Raphael Lavoie. But I am going to be including Jack Campbell because I feel like I should. So with that out of the way, guys, you guys are absolutely crushing it. We're so close to 4,000 subs. So if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Thanks for all the continued support. We're going to be starting off alphabetically from forwards all the way to goaltending. So right out of the gate, it's kind of funny how we're starting with this guy, Connor Brown. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're an Oilers fan, you know, if you watch hockey, you know just how disappointing of a season Connor Brown is actually having. I hate saying it. I feel terrible. He seems like a nice guy, but yeah, he's had a crap season. He'd be the first to admit it. I was looking at this stat the other day that I just stumbled upon, but it's most shifts without a goal, active streaks by forwards. Okay, third is Rasmus Kupari, 888 shifts he's had without scoring a goal. Riley Nash is second with 1,080 shifts, and at the top of this list, unfortunately, it's Connor Brown with 1,128 shifts without scoring a goal. So super depressing. I don't really need to say much there. Connor Brown, yeah, I'm going to slot you right into the crap category that we have. And up next, we've got Leon Draisaitl. Okay, we all know Leon Draisaitl, absolute stud. Don't really have to say too much here. He's having it is a little bit of a slower year. He had a career year last year, and this is, yeah, he's tapered down a little bit. I still think, and the whole rest of the world should think, that Leon Draisaitl is a top 5 talent in the NHL because he is. He can do it all. He can pass. He's one of the best passers in the league. He's one of the best scorers in the league. For that reason, he's having a really good season. It's not quite God tier, but he is having a really good season. Up next, we've got Warren Foegele, and this is where it gets confusing. I think for the most part, Warren Foegele is having a really good season. I also think Leon Draisaitl is having a really good season. Does that mean I think Foegele is better than Leon Draisaitl? No, obviously Leon is better, but it's kind of just more based on expectations going into the season. And yeah, I mean, for the majority of the season, especially at the early goings of the season, Warren Foegele was one of the most consistent Oilers there was. So for that reason, I'd say he's slightly above as expected, and I'm going to put him in the really good portion as well. He's on pace to have career highs this season, so yeah, Warren Foegele, good job. I think you're having a really good season. Next up, they call him Papa Clutch, Sam Gagner. I was at his first game this season. It was against the Dallas Stars, and that's actually who they played again today. Yeah, he's you know, it's as expected, right? The Oilers fans should know what you're going to get with a player like Sam Gagner. His best days are, you know, quite a ways behind him. With that being said, he chips in. There's a reason they're calling him Papa Clutch. The game that I was at, he scored 2 goals against the Dallas Stars. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have won the Battle of Alberta, their most recent Battle of Alberta, which was in that, you know, 16 game stretch that they had. And evidently they ended up winning that game, and it was all because of Sam Gagner. So he's looked all right when called upon this season. He's done just what is as expected. So for that reason, I'm going to put Sam Gagner in as expected. And if you have a comment, if you don't agree with me, definitely drop a comment down below. If you think I'm out to lunch, you know, I know I said that in the last video. A lot of people were like, "You're so out of lunch. It's ridiculous. What are you saying?" So yeah, drop a comment down below, guys. I welcome all comments and I read every single one. Let's go right to Dylan Holloway. I'm kind of all over the place with Dylan Holloway. I think the expectations, I can see it. Like there's certain stuff he does on the ice where I'm like, okay, the Oilers, as a matter of fact, do have a player in Dylan Holloway, but he isn't quite there yet. I was expecting him to take that next step this year. So for me personally, I am a little disappointed with, you know, how the season has been going. Obviously, he's kind of been injury prone since he's entered the league, which is kind of, you know, hindered his progression. He probably would be a lot better if it wasn't for the injuries that held him back. So for that reason, but then again, a lot of people were expecting him to be just this kind of player. So he's right on the fence between disappointing season for me and as expected. I guess just for this case, I'm going to put Dylan Holloway as expected. But he has potential. Like, he does have serious potential. I really do think the Oilers have a really good player in Dylan Holloway. Okay, next up, we've got Zach Hyman. I mean, I don't really have to say much here. Zach Hyman is coming off of a career year that he had last year, and the year before that, he had a career year. This year as well, he is looking to make another career year. He was on pace for 50 goals. I think it's just shy of that right now. Still just super impressive. Dare I put him in God tier? You know what? Damn it. I'm going to put him in God tier just because I never expected this. The Oilers have him on a bargain deal. They have him for what, like 5 more years on just a ludicrous deal. It's all just super impressive, the numbers he's putting up for what the Oilers were able to land him on. I remember the day they signed him, people are like, oh, this is just a terrible contract. It's going to age so poorly, but that is, I mean, right now it's one of the best contracts in the NHL. From his work ethic, from his just grind, his net front presence, he's just carrying the puck so much more every single game. Just more and more he's carrying the puck. He's just at all-time confidence levels right now, so he's got tier for me. Okay, next up, Matthias Janmark. I'm disappointed, really. I think he's doing okay. I'm pretty disappointed with this with him, so I think it's pretty safe to say, people are saying, oh, but the penalty kill. Well, the penalty kill has actually sucked in the last 2 weeks here, so there's a reason why he was a healthy scratch 2 games ago or whatever it was. So yeah, I'm disappointed with this season. I think he'd say he's disappointed with how his season's going as well. Next up, Evander Kane. I think at the beginning of the year he was having a really good year, and right now it's kind of as expected. So maybe I'm a little disappointed. I know I did a season or predictions video where at the beginning of the year I said he was going to be a point per game player. I was thinking maybe close to 80 points, and I think he is close to having a career year this year. I think he is on pace for that, but I mean, maybe I set expectations a little too high. So for that reason, dare I say it, yeah, maybe I'm a little disappointed with how the season's going. And it's, sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. He's brought the physicality. I love that aspect of his game. That's going to be huge for the Oilers in the playoffs, but I am a little disappointed with Kaner's performance. And that's the thing. When Evander Kane's going, it's great. It's great to see, but he hasn't been going nearly enough this season. There was a game stretch, it was December 2nd from January something. He scored or he had 3 points, or it was something like that. It wasn't, don't quote me for that, but it was really, really bad is what I'm getting at. So for that reason, I'm going to say I'm disappointed with Evander Kane. Next up, I mean, we got another god tier here. It's Connor McDavid. Yeah, he just put up a 6-point night the other night, all assists, all even strength. It's super incredible what he's doing. Yeah, he has slowed down a little bit from last year, but it's hard enough to, you look at Tage Thompson last year, he had a career year, and then this year it's a wicked setback. Jason Robertson as well, he had a career year, 109 points last year, and this year he's on pace for 89 points, which is a 20-point decrease from the year prior. So it's hard. It's super hard to be consistent in the NHL, and the fact that Connor McDavid has been so consistent. McDavid's on pace to have just over 40 goals this year, and the fact that that's an off year, it just goes to show how high the bar is set and he said it himself, right? He set that bar, so it's so hard to be at that level. He's being checked way more harder this year. The shots aren't going through. So yeah, and he's still third in scoring right now, so it's super impressive. Who knows? I know he's behind Nathan MacKinnon and Nikita Kucherov right now in league scoring, but he does have 5 games in hand. So in those 5 games, if he pops off, puts up 12 points, I mean, he's right up there. He could win the Art Ross. He's still in that conversation. So for that reason, yeah, Connor McDavid, he is the captain. He is the best player in the world, and he's having another god tier like season. Okay, next up, we got Ryan McLeod. Earlier in the season, it was a crap season. I believe any Oiler fan would say that. It was pretty evident. And he had a little bit of a decent tear there. He was like a point per game player on a 12-game stretch. So for that reason, it might be a little recency bias, but I'm going to put as expected for Ryan McLeod. Next up, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. This is interesting. We all know that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had a career year last year. It was insane. 100-point player, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And obviously, a lot of people were expecting that. I didn't want people to expect that because I didn't think he was going to achieve 100 points again. Maybe again, but definitely not this year. Like I said, it's super hard. You have to be such an unbelievable talent to get back-to-back 200-point seasons. And, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's a really good player, but he's not a star-studded forward, right? But in saying that, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is on pace for, I think it's 77 points, I believe, just under a point per game right now. And that's going to be his second best season to date. So I still think if he didn't have that 100-point season last year, people would be just in awe of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' season that he's having this year. So for that for that reason, I'm still going to give him a really good season. I think Nuge has done a really good job. Next up is the newest Oiler, Corey Perry, and I know it's just a short stint, so I'm not really going to go too much into this, but Corey Perry, I think I've loved what I've seen, and it's going to be super nice to see what he can do for the last stretch of the season here. It's going to be super nice to see how that carries over to the playoffs. We all know what he can do in the playoffs, as you remember. Corey Perry, I've loved what I've seen, so as of right now, I think he's done a really good job. And then last but not least, for forwards, Derek Ryan, I'm just going to put him right as expected. We know he's kind of like Sam Gagner. You know what you're going to get from Derek Ryan. He's not a point per game player. He's, a pretty sound, pretty safe option. You can put him in. He can win you the odd draw. Today he got a shorty. I'm okay with this as expected. Yeah, he's done a pretty good job. And so, yeah, for that reason, as expected, I think that's a good place for him. And like I said, guys, if you made it this far, do subscribe. It really goes a long way. We're super close to 4,000 subs. We're starting alphabetically here with this next player, Evan Bouchard, the first defenseman on this list. Yeah, I mean, he's had a really good season. At the beginning of the season, he sucked defensively, and his offensive numbers weren't there. Well, now his defense, he's been a little bit better defensively. I'm not going to say he's an all-star defensively, but he has been better. And his offensive numbers, that's what's boosted him to having a really good season. He's just under a point per game right now. He got 2 goals. He got the OT winner today against the Dallas Stars, so he's looked lights out. Like, offensively, he's so calm and composed, whether it's in the offensive end or defensive end, and that's kind of why there's a lot of controversy with the, Evan Bouchard. Yeah, he's so chill in his defensive end. Yeah, I get it. It does suck. I take his offense for his defensive blunders any day of the week, especially he's just going to continue to progress offensively, and he should get better defensively. That's how as you get older, as you get more mature as a defenseman, you got to remember last year was his first full season as an NHL defenseman, right? This is his second season as an NHL regular, so he's still learning so much. And now that he's playing top end minutes, he's playing the top end talent that the opposition has, right? So you gotta keep that in mind. Evan Bouchard, you're an absolute stud. His fake shots, he's walking the line, he's doing so good in the offensive end. I love it. I think you're having a really good season. That might be a hot take, but whatever. Up next is Cody Ceci. He finally scored the other day, and it was his first time he scored in like 120 plus games. It was crazy. I was actually at the last game that Cody Ceci scored. It was against the Calgary Flames, and it's hard to believe that it took that long, because I don't know, I feel like he's had his chances. I know he's hit the post a few times, but he also can never hit the frickin' net, and he's kind of become a meme. There's a few videos that I've seen on TikTok of, commentators been like, oh, he missed the net by a mile, wasn't even close. Yeah, so that's Cody Ceci. I think he's had an as expected season. I didn't have crazy expectations for him. He's kind of like a Derek Ryan, kind of like a Sam Gagner. You know what you get from Cody Ceci. He's not gonna just come in one season and just be, oh, wow, like Cody Ceci, he's sure just all of a sudden been unreal, right? Like, you know what you're going to get from him. So I'd say as expected. But out of all the defensemen, I think Cody Ceci's had the least amount of giveaways. Like, that's for sure. You hardly notice him, and that's usually a good thing for defensemen. So I'm going to say as expected. Next up, we got Vincent Desharnais, and I'm going to hurry here because we're at 16 minutes. So if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. This guy, I don't really know where I am. I know a lot of people are beginning to like him, and that's good for you. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, because I at the beginning of the season I didn't really like him, and I still don't. I would prefer the Oilers have someone else instead of Vincent Desharnais. I think anyone would. He's not an ideal defenseman to have as your sixth, right shot defenseman. So yeah, like, I don't know where to put him. I'm not disappointed. Like I said, I'm not disappointed because I just think he's not that great. So I guess I'm just going to put him as expected. But that being said, I think there's people that I'm disappointed with, like Evander Kane, that I think are having way better seasons than Vincent Desharnais, right? That's all I got for him. Next up, Mattias Ekholm. He's had a really good season. And if you look at the metrics, you look at the analytics, I know for a long time there, Evan Bouchard, and even right now, Mattias Ekholm have been one of the best defensive pairings in the whole NHL. It's evident. You can see it. Like they're so sound defensively. Mattias Ekholm, he's just a warrior. He's a Viking. He's literally a Viking. He's so good defensively. He knows when to give Bouchard the puck, and that's kind of what works so well. He kind of is like, oh crap, I don't know what I'm doing here. Look, give it a Bouch. He might be able to do something. and majority of the time it's a puck on net or it's a goal. So they've worked really well. Matthias Ekholm, I remember when the Oilers got him and I made a video and I just got chirped. I was like, what a terrible trade. I was so ticked off, and it's crazy that now he's like, besides Bouchard, he's my favorite defenseman, and he's probably all around the best Oilers defenseman. So I think he's having a really good season, and I could not be more happy for that. Brett Kulak is next. He's kind of like Cody Ceci, except he's a left shot. He's done as expected. Yeah, like he's been pretty good. He's had a pretty good season, but he's not, turning heads. So for that reason, I'd say he's right as, where I expected him to be. He's doing okay. He's kind of like Cody Ceci. He very seldom makes mistakes, and if he does, he's a pretty fast player. He can always make up for his mistakes, and that's what I like about Brett Kulak, especially in the playoffs. And that's what a lot of people say. He's a playoff warrior. He actually shows up in the playoffs. He's one of the best, most consistent Oilers in the playoffs. So I'm very looking forward to seeing that pretty soon here. And last up, we got the $9 million man. Yeah, okay. So this is interesting. I'm gonna put Darnell Nurse. I might get ripped apart here. I think he's having a really good season. I do. Do I think that Darnell Nurse is a $9 million player? No, I don't. But you know what? I think he's at his best, I think he's like 7.5 million, maybe 8. And when you look at it like that, okay, you're overpaying him $1 million. You look at the Calgary Flames. You look at Jonathan Huberdeau. Is he a $9 million forward right now? No. With the points that he's putting up, he's like a $4 million player, and that's like a $5 million difference. So I think there's definitely worse contracts in the NHL. I really think Darnell Nurse has shut the haters up. And if anyone's still hating on that contract, anyone hating on him, I really don't think you should be. Just watch. If you're a hockey fan, if you've been watching, he very seldom gives up the puck anymore. He's making the right plays. He's skating when he should be skating. The whole Paul Coffey thing, it seems to really be working with Darnell Nurse. I've loved his game this season, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment down below. Do you think is he having a really good season? Okay, so that's it for the defensemen and the forwards. Now let's quickly shift gears to the goaltending, and we're doing this alphabetically. So first off, Jack Campbell it is. Okay, so we have to talk about it. Yeah, he's going to join Connor Brown in the crap. Obviously he's had a crap season. He'd be the first to admit it. It sucks. It's embarrassing. It's sad. I feel for the guy, but I mean, it is what it is. Something had to be done, and that was, unfortunately, he was the one that had to bite the bullet, and he did, and, he's putting up better numbers right now in the minors, so you like to see that, but yeah, it's really too bad to see. It was a terrible contract. I'd never, not even if it was like bona fide, number one goalie, I'd be very hesitant to sign them 3 years, because you look at Sergei Bobrovsky, he signs that huge massive contract he did as soon as he landed in Florida. His first season he was atrocious, and you look at the numbers that he put up prior. He was a Vezina favorite, Vezina finalist. Like, he was just an unbelievable, like, it's so hard to be a consistent goalie, and I'd never go more than 5 years, and they really never should have. And especially, he had one good season with the Toronto Maple Leafs there, and even in that second half of that season that he was doing really good, his true numbers, true colors started to show. He kind of fell back to earth again, and he wasn't really that good. It is what it is. I'm sorry, Jack Campbell, but you've had a crap season, and that's the way she goes. Next up, we got Calvin Pickard, and the second last player. So you know what? Calvin Pickard has been really good. He hasn't been called upon much, but when he has been actually really good. Way better than what Jack Campbell was doing. He got the dub for the Oilers again today. Like I said, he hasn't played a lot, but when he has, he's looked so good. It's shut up all the goalie talk. Who should the Oilers get? No, the Oilers are set. This is who they're set with. This is who they're going to go into the playoffs with. They're not going to make an acquisition to get anyone. There's no one better elsewhere in the NHL than what the Oilers have internally in Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. And with that note, yeah, let's shift gears to Stuart Skinner. So Calvin Pickard, yeah, he's having a really good season. And you know what? To start the season, it wasn't just Jack Campbell. Stuart Skinner, he sucked, but the whole team in front of him sucked. I can't really fault Stuart Skinner. Fortunately, the team started playing way better defense in front of him, and that led to his numbers just increasing substantially. So for that reason, I'm going to say he's having a really good season. It might be recency bias. I know he's kind of crapped the bed the last few games since the All-Star break or whatever, but he also had, in that 16-game winning streak, he had 12 straight wins in that, which is, or was it 11? It was 11 or 12 straight wins, in which set a new Oilers franchise record. So Stuart Skinner, absolutely, you're having a really good season. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for you. I think he is the guy, and who knows? The way things are going, could he be Canada's best option at the next Olympics, or even at that four-nation square-off that happens next season? Time will tell. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And like I said, last season, kind of like Bouchard, this is Stuart Skinner's second full year as an NHL regular, right? He's still super young. We all know NHL goalies and defensemen take a little bit longer to mature, and we're kind of seeing that. I still think we're just scratching the surface of Stuart Skinner. I think he's going to be a tremendous goalie for years to come, and the Oilers should absolutely be super pumped to have a player like him, and I'll leave it at that. But that's all I got for you today, guys. If you like this video, if you want me to do more videos like this, maybe with different teams, whatever, I'm all ears. Drop a comment down below. I read every single one. Thanks for all the continued support, guys. I really appreciate it. And like I said, guys, next video is going to be business as usual. You're going to see me on camera. Just got a lot on the go right now. Haven't been able to record at home for a little bit here, so I'm sorry about that. But don't be average when you can be above average. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.